In this video, I'd like to introduce you guys to events and delegates within the C# in Unity. So some people might say this is an advanced to or an intermediate topic in the C# language, but the fact of the matter is you can make it as simple or as complicated as you like. And some of the confusion might stem with the definition of what these do. So with delegates and events, you can create custom events in your game, as many as you like, and subscribe as many game objects as you like to these events. And when the events are triggered, you can have those subscribers react to them in any way you like. But the method used to do this needs to conform to the delegate signature, so pass in the same arguments as defined in the delegate object. Okay, so everything will become clearer. I'm going to split this video into 3 sections. The first one, we need to define the delegate and events. Number 2, we're going to find a way to trigger the events. And the third one, number 3, is subscribing game objects to the events. So the first thing to define is the delegate. Some people call it the pointer function, or the type of function we're going to use. And it's basically an event handler. We can define what arguments will be passed into the events using the delegate, and in Unity we can just say public delegate. It's not going to return anything, so we can say void and then give it a name. In this case, I thought it would be awesome to create some events for our units in the game. I think this will become more apparent as our videos go on, because especially in strategy games, when loads of things are happening, we need to keep track of exactly everything, because strategy games can be very complicated when they're completed. Public delegate void, give it a name. I'm going to call this unit event handler, and I'm just going to pass in one object, which is the unit we'll be interested in, and that's how we define a delegate. So the next thing is the events. Defining the events, we can say public static event, and then we need to give monodevelop the delegate we're conforming to, which is the unit event handler, and now give the event a name. So the name of the event, let's say on unit spawn. So when the unit spawns, we want a bunch of things to happen. So this is the first event. And now we can define another event if we wanted to. Public static event, unit event handler, the delegate, on unit destroy. A bunch of objects might be interested in when this unit will be destroyed or killed in the game. So I'm going to leave it there. These are the 2 events I'm interested in here. So that's number 1 out of the way. We've done that. Done. The second thing is to trigger the event somehow, and we need to trigger this method within this script, the same script we've defined the delegate and the events in. And to do that, we can just create another method. So public static, not going to return anything. We can say new unit created, for example. Doesn't have to be the same name as the event itself. Very important thing there. Of course, we need to give it the game object as a parameter, and then we can trigger the event. But the thing is, we can only trigger events when there are subscribers to them. So to test this, we can say if on unit spawn doesn't equal null, then we can trigger it, and then we can say on unit spawn. Let me just go back there. So when I start typing, as you can see, monodevelop signifies that these are events by the lightning bolt icon, and this is consistent in all development environments such as Microsoft's Visual Studio. They also use the lightning bolt icon as well. And monodevelop also knows that we're conforming to the unit event handler delegate, so quite powerful. So here we go, we're going to trigger this event and then simply pass in the unit game object. Awesome, now we've defined that. We can also similarly define a method to trigger this event when the unit is destroyed. So unit dead, let's say that, pass in the unit, and then we can say on unit destroy. Okay guys, simple as that. So our unit script will actually point to this method, and then the events will be triggered, and that's all good. So let's just double check, see if we've got any errors. No, we haven't. That's good. So number 2 is done now. We can trigger the events by calling these methods. So number 3, we need to subscribe game objects to these events. And this is when the power of events and delegates come in really handy. You can subscribe as many game objects as you like to events. And you might be wondering what kind of objects will be interested in this. Well, for example, our health system, our health manager might be. Other units might be, because if a unit is created or destroyed, it might affect their morale, and then their attack power might become stronger because they're more confident in battle. Things like that. GUI, you might want to display GUI stuff to signify a new unit's been created. Confirmation units created or dead. This might handle sound effects, for example. So let's just pretend each of these systems have their own script. Let's start with the health manager. So let's create a new script, health manager, just for demonstration purposes. I'm not going to actually code a health manager. I just want to show you guys how to subscribe objects to these events. So I think the start method in this case will be a good time to subscribe. So within the start method, to subscribe this, we can firstly point to the event itself. So delegates and events, period. And again, monodevelop realizes the events in this script, and then we can say on unit spawn plus equals, and this is where some people get confused. We need to define like a separate function to handle what happens when a new unit is spawned. And in this case we can say, I'm going to put this just to demonstrate that it's in this script, this period new units created. Okay, we don't need to put the parentheses. Why is that? Because we already know which arguments are going to be passed through this, because it needs to conform to the delegate, and our delegate only passes through the game object. So we don't need to type out the arguments, simply put semicolon, and we're almost done. We just need to define this method now. So public void new unit created, really important stuff. This signature needs to be exactly the same as our delegate signature. Copy and paste, and now the script can do whatever it likes when a new unit is created. So this is the health manager, so assign the new unit a health bar, give unit HP, things like that. Everything. So maybe a GUI actually, but that's a sprite. Actually, that's assign a unit health bar. So these are the two things that this script would be interested in every time this event is triggered. So this is our workflow done. So let's just slowly go through exactly what's happening here. We've defined the delegates and the events. That's good. We've got an event for when a unit is spawned and another one for when the unit is dead or when it's destroyed. And we need to trigger these events somehow, and to do that we've created methods within the same script as when we've defined them, because otherwise Unity will flag an error. And within those methods we've actually triggered the event, and to do that you simply call the event and then pass through that's defined in the delegate. And the most important thing, we can then subscribe other game objects to these events by using the plus equals. And by the way guys, if we put void on disable, maybe if the game object is disabled, or destroy, we can actually unsubscribe a unit as well, minus equals. Okay, simple as that. So when the game object is dead, this is unsubscribed and nothing will happen. So where was I? After we've triggered the unit, every single subscriber will then react in its own way using their own method. So let's just hop over to Photoshop and write out exactly what's happened here. So new unit is created. This is the thing that triggers everything else in the game. So let's bold this out. After this, the trigger is called. Okay, something needs to happen to call a trigger. In this case, a new unit is created, and then after the trigger is called, a bunch of stuff can happen. The health bar or the health manager can do some things like create units health bar. Other things like give it HP and armor, maybe if it's got armor, give it a factor of how much it can get damaged and things. Okay, that's one example. A GUI system needs to know a unit's created, so we can update the maybe a selection or a GUI interface. Population maybe in the GUI, And what was the other thing we said? Other units in the game. Other units might be subscribed to this. They might want to update their morale for added attack bonus, maybe. See where we're going, guys? So we can create as many subscribers as we like. 1, 2, 3, for example, and we can create many more. And they react in their own separate way to this trigger. Okay, so I should say event is called really, so trigger is called, let's change it to event is called. Okay, or another way we could say it is event is triggered. Okay, so let's just drag a ruler down here. This is the stuff that's happening in our delegates and event script, and then a bunch of other objects can then do their own thing based on this event, and these things happen every single time the event is triggered. Okay, so I think I'll leave it there for this video, and similarly every other event works the same way. So on unit destroy, again the unit, when it's destroyed, when the HP is 0 and the unit is dead, this will be triggered, this event will be triggered, and then the GUI can update, population decreases, the health manager deletes the health bar, etc, etc. Other units, the morale might drop because the unit is no longer with them. Things like that. Okay, so as you can see, guys, events and delegates, very powerful in Unity. We'll be using them in the future. I'll be doing a lot of examples so you guys can get it, and I hope you can use it in your own projects. So thanks for watching the video, guys. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video.